A Destrian Network production. Every day I'm struggling.
What?
Not again. Not again. Oh no. You stupid little fuck.
Little dog.
No, you can't kill me in the door. The train's not going. Oh no.
Hashtag I did try.
Every day I'm struggling.
You're listening to The Struggle is Wheel, the premier Wheel of Struggle fancast.
With your hosts, Mr. Mattington and Garlitz.
Wheel of Struggle.
Oh, Mr. Matt. I'm just reading this thing that I got through from the lawyer department.
Okay. Didn't realise we
said
had one.
Yeah, well, neither did I, but apparently that's where all the money's been going. I didn't even realise. They say that because this is a James Bond game, and we're doing a video about the James Bond game, we legally need to have a James Bond parody at the start. Preferably parodying the James Bond sequence where he walks in and does the gun thing, where he shoots the cameraman.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what the cameraman did to deserve that, but that's besides the point. So, I think legally we're going to have to do this.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. Have you got any form of weaponry that you can?
I do. I happen to have a gun right here, so I'm ready to go.
All right, because
How
I
about
don't at all. Okay. I'm like the Doctor. I don't have a gun except for in the old days when I did, but now no. So I'm gonna have to do it with finger guns. Okay. Finger gun.
I mean, I think legally that will cover us.
Okay, cool. Finger guns. All right.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, finger guns.
Dun-na, dun-na-na-na, dun-na, dun-na, dun-na. I'm fire.
That was a perfect rendition of the James Bond theme.
Hello everybody and welcome to the second episode of Season 6 of The Struggle is Wheel.
Don't you go ahead and ask what the hell happened to the other seasons, they don't exist. But either way, my name is Mr. Matt Internet.
And my name is Garlips, much like the henchmen's bodies that litter all these facilities that James Bond passes through. The previous seasons don't exist, they're gone.
Stop asking about them, they don't exist. So, Garlips, what came up on the wheel? I know that we already ended up talking about what this episode would be about, so we've already kind of spoiled it. But if this is someone's first, bite into the Struggler's Wheel, I don't understand why they would go into this with no prior knowledge of what it was. But what was the game that came up?
Well, I'd hasten to add as well, if this is your first bite of the Struggle is Wheel, the aftertaste is normal. It will go away with time, and medically, everything is okay. Like this, the statistics are high, but they brush up against the target. They don't actually enter into the target of saying this definitely gives you something. So you can chew away to your heart's content. And welcome this week on the wheel, as we alluded to last time. 007 Nightfire was chosen, which is, I believe, is a James Bond game and not a game about the number 7.
Fantastic. And I presume this was based on one of his fantastic adventures, one of his film or book adventures. I presume it must be.
Well, that almost feels like the preamble into another point we're going to make, because this game was actually an original story, Do Not Steal.
No way. A whole new story. And it must also be some random bloke that they found, and they did a digital capture of his face, and that's the James Bond you're playing with.
Well, it's almost as if we'd planned this, because, Mr. Matt, that is also not true. No, Pierce Brosnan's likeness has actually been included this time.
No way. That's
yes
madness.
way.
God.
It is madness. But we're here to cover it, so don't go anywhere. Stick your slippers on. What else did you get ready? Put your slippers on and ease back in your seat, because we're here to tell you all there is to know about 007 Nightfire.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be everything, but it'll be some things.
Most of the things that you might want to know, or be bothered to know.
Some of the information relating to James Bond.
Here is some information about Nightfire.
Some information. The game was released for the Nintendo GameCube, and it hasn't seen another release since.
That is true. It was also released for the PC and for the PS2, as well as the GBA. But don't worry, I can feel some of your shoulders like naturally kind of clench as you think, oh god, not the GBA again. But as Fish posted in the Discord today, that's always a looming threat for the future. We could play the GBA game in the future. But yeah, apparently the PC version is missing several levels.
Oh, wow.
I'm not entirely sure why, but definitely some of the vehicle sections, including the submarine level, are missing. So maybe, based on some people's experiences of this game, that might actually be the better version to play.
That very well might be. Have you got any more information about this game? Have you got anything like the publishers or the developers?
Well, it was published by EA, Electronic Arts. Back when they were already on their villain arc at that point, but they were less into their villain arc. It was sort of the early days when you could still kind of root for them, like Walter White, I guess. But since then, I mean, obviously they've gone full evil and then beyond evil into their Satan arc.
Cartoonishly evil.
Yes, cartoonishly evil. But there are a couple of cool things about this game. Apparently, it almost didn't have Pierce Brosnan's face, believe it or not.
No way.
Yeah, I was literally watching a YouTube video about Nightfire about 30 minutes ago to gain information that I was then going to digest and regurgitate to you as nuggets.
Oh my goodness, you're baby birding all of the strugglers.
I am indeed, because none of you can be trusted to YouTube or Google yourself. So, let me explain for you. Apparently, until very late in development, they actually had the original Bond face that they created for Agent Under Fire. It was going to be his face again. But they flew out to wherever Pierce Brosnan was at the time, and they had a few minutes of his time, like an hour or so, apparently, according to the developer Insight. And they took one of them machines what scans people's faces, and they went and did a little scan of his face, and then slid it in. Apparently, if you play the GBA version, there are kind of these still images instead of the cutscenes, and one of those still images actually has the Agent Under Fire's Bond face on it in the early level. So, there you go.
Wow, what fantastic information and trivia. Have you got any other additional trivia?
No, that's enough. It's enough trivia regurgitation for now. Although I will say that apparently the development was focused around the idea of making the Bond sections where you really feel like Bond. I mean, it's no secret to say that the game is based around these 007 moments. You might have even noticed a couple of them pop up on screen while you were struggling this week, or as we'll get into in a minute, I believe you still to struggle through this game, Mr. Man, so you've got that to look forward to. It'll go da-da or diddle-da, and it'll say 007 at the top.
I don't know what you just did there. I have no idea what you just did there.
I just did this. Diddle-da, and 007 appeared at the top.
I have no idea what that means. I have no frame of reference or context for that. I have no idea what that could be.
Don't worry, because when you watch the podcast, you will understand, because you might see some tomorrow when you play it. You might see some, but usually they're rewarded for good gameplay and doing things properly. And I didn't want to get into it, but it might be the case that obviously through your playthrough, you won't experience that.
Fantastic. So the 007 moments that would end up acting very much like set pieces from several of 007's film escapades over the years. You end up having those fantastic key moments that could end up being from any of his classic adventures. What a wonderful thrill that must be. And then the music goes
just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And apparently what the developer went on to say, they designed the story around the gameplay first, because they said these moments that are in James Bond games, or James Bond movies I should say, like for instance in 007 there's the dam sequence where he jumps off the dam, and it's all very cool, or he jumps on the moving plane to get off of that base, and it's all very, very cool. But when you come to play that in the game versions, it didn't necessarily reflect or feel cool. And so apparently this game is very much They enjoyed the fact they didn't have to adhere to a previously existing story, because they didn't want to take these cool moments from those stories and turn them into mediocre gameplay. They could focus on making something that played well and felt like Bond, and then kind of weaving a story through it. Which I think, I mean, I did skip all the cutscenes, so I'm not really one to judge. The story did feel like the most cliched James Bond thing I've ever played in my entire life. But maybe that's not quite fair. So I feel like maybe they lost some of the character of the individual Bond stories that way. But overall, they did produce a fairly well-polished, overall Bond-feeling Bond thing.
From what I've seen already of other strugglers taking this game on, it very much feels like they built the set pieces and then went, let's focus on the gameplay. And the story was the lowest part of the entire thing. Like, the story is just not very good. Like, it's just watered down. Like, it's a James Bond story, but they've watered it to the point where there's nothing left. There's only a tiny bit of martini left in that bottle now. But the gameplay, from everything I've seen, people have been really happy with the gameplay. The controls, however, not so much. But the gameplay itself, the core gameplay, apparently people have been enjoying it, especially when they've gone back to it on the lower difficulties.
Well, I think this coming after Sonic Genesis GBA, a lot of people felt that this was very much a breath of fresh air with something very different. And although the difficulty comes from the difficulty level that we've asked people to play on this time, it does feel like a bit less unfair, a bit more like you can make progress through it without having to pull your teeth out. So I think, it benefits from coming off the back of week 1 as well.
Very much so, very much so. Speaking about strugglers playing this game, how did you find your experience with it?
Okay, so I had a pretty good time with this game. At current rankings, I'm at 3. We'll see if I continue to be 3 when tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow comes and the table is released. But yeah, I was very happy with my progress. I like playing hard games. I like playing hard shooters. I like playing hard shooters on a controller, and I think that's the difference, because there are a lot of people on the wheel who quite enjoy shooters, but they're not necessarily used to playing them on the controller. They're used to playing them on a mouse and keyboard. And so I think a lot of the difficulty came here from struggling with those controls. And I had to struggle with those controls less, because that's where I'm at home when it comes to this kind of game. However, if we'd decided to go with enforcing the classic Bond control scheme, then I would have been right there with the rest of them, pulling my hair out going, that control scheme mimics the GoldenEye scheme almost perfectly. And when I was doing the testing for this game, because this is one of the ones that I did the testing for, I said in the chat, the council chat, I said, this controls so bad, I don't think we can set the difficulty at 00 Agent. And then I scrolled through the controls, I found the Nightfire control scheme, and, clues in the name, it's kind of recommended, but because you've got that tiny little, sexy little yellow nub that you love flicking on a GameCube controller, that essentially doubles as a second stick, and so you've got almost modern controls through that scheme. And once I switched it to that and played 10 minutes, I was like, nah, too easy, 00 Agent. So you've got me to thank for that. But that's because the control scheme, I think, allows a bit more, the modern conveniences that we may be more used to. It kind of provides a little bit of that. So the difficulty comes instead in the difficulty. The one thing I had issues with in this game, more than anything else, is where you do get checkpoints through these missions. But there are some missions that feel really stingy and unfair with the checkpoints. Even beginning in level 2, where you would think that maybe more checkpoints would be given because it was the first mission, essentially the first mission, and so it would give you a bit more leeway. But there's this one section, as you'll find tomorrow, Mr. Matt, where you get to a gondola, and you have to fire rockets at a helicopter. Now, you can get to the gondola just fine, but shooting the rockets at the helicopter is kind of annoying, and you can very easily accidentally shoot the rocket inside the gondola, causing havoc for James Bond and his female friend. They both die instantly. And the problem is, where most games you would expect a cheeky little autosave just as you're walking into the gondola, no, you've got to do that whole part of the level again. And it only gets worse from there, because there are levels later on where you basically don't get checkpoints at all, apart from if they are broken up by a loading screen. Like if it's got to load the next big section of the game, you kind of get a gimme there. But apart from that, you're kind of on your own, and it will set you back a ways. To the point where you even start becoming a bit of a speedrunner at the bits that you can do fast, because you're just trying to get back to where you got your ass kicked last time. So it is a bit stingy. I don't know if there are more checkpoints on the original, like, lower difficulties or not. I haven't checked into that. That's the kind of facts that you're going to have to Google for yourself. But overall, it was enjoyable. I had fun. It was hard on purpose, and I'm okay with that.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm looking forward to doing my run on Nightfire. I've actually dug my Wii out to play it, so I'm going to be playing on as close to hardware as possible.
That's fantastic.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. But I just need to make sure that I've got enough time to actually do it. So this is going to be fun. How far can I get in my time? So yeah, it's going to be a good run. I'm looking forward to it. If you aren't aware, we filmed this on Tuesday, so the final results aren't out as yet, but they will be by the time of publication. And I think that gives us a perfect opportunity to end up saying, here are the final rankings for 007 Nightfire.
And here are the Nightfire results for Week 2 of Season 6 of The Wheel. In 18th place, joint 18th, we have Kylorian, Steven's Rocket, and Stormfeather, all of whom managed to complete the tutorial level, but didn't get much further. Alas, congratulations, 00 agents. In 17th place, we have Carl Cornelius. In 16th place, it's Oodles. In 15th place, it's our very own Adrian's Revenge. In 14th place, Jason Vader. In 13th place, it's our lad Q. In 12th, it's Raifgal. Tom the Wizard coming in at 11. And starting off the top 10, we have 16-bit Hyper Turbo in 10th place. A Sad Strange Sausage Man in 9th place. In 8th place, we have a Big Captain. In 7th place, it's Hextree. In 6th place, it's Tater84. And in 5th place, it's Decky F, proving that no one this week was between two bars. In 4th place, it's Some Cunt. In 3rd place, it's DMAC. In 2nd place, it's NBZ. But hands together for an absolutely last-minute epic snipe from our very own Kythius, who completed the game in just under 5 hours. Incredible, incredible scenes.
I don't think there's anything else really to say about Nightfire at the moment, is there?
Well, most people seem to like the variety of levels and gameplay. Like the fact that there was every so often there was a car level. I love the car levels because they're much shorter than the shooting levels, so you feel like, well, hey, I'm really doing well for my time here. And then NBZ comes along and completely destroys you by an hour. But I'm not going to get into that. Most strugglers fell down in the sniping level. When you get to the sniping level, you'll see what people have been complaining about. However, at the risk of upsetting a few folks, I didn't have that many problems with the sniper level. Sounds like a get good kind of problem to have. But like I said, I'm used to. I played Call of Duty 1, 2, 4, 4-2, 4-3 on the veteran difficulties on a controller. So I am used to that whole pop out, pew, pop out, pew. Oh look, can I take a shot through the door frame on this 1 pixel? Yes, I can. And it definitely feels a bit like that. But that's where most people bottlenecked, was the sniper level. So good luck on the sniper level, Mr. Matt.
Oh, thank you muchly. I think one of the problems a lot of people encountered with this is they went into it as if it was another type of shooter, forgetting that James Bond is a frail man at the end of the day. He's not John Halo. He can't, stand there taking a load of bullets whilst you line up a shot and hope that that's going to end up saving your life and then your health regenerates. You kind of have to go into this with the mentality of James Bond of, okay, right, I've got to reload. I'm ducking behind what I can, reloading, and then coming back out again. Because I've seen so many people make the mistake of reloading without getting into recover.
Yeah, I was watching Stormfeather, and bless her, she really tried. She was struggling against level 2, and she would keep getting to the gondola and firing the rockets. The rockets, it's not a spoiler to say, because I believe it's in the manual, but the rockets have a heat-seeking or a guided mode that you can kind of pilot, like a Nikita missile from Metal Gear Solid 1. In fact, the whole thing gave me major Metal Gear Solid 1 vibes. But apparently, by the time I joined Stormy's stream, she said, I'm not using that mode because I blew myself up. So I'm going to just fire rockets unaided through the windows. And every time she was firing as well, after firing, I was saying in my head, duck, 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 crouch, please, please. And she was just not doing it. I think she might have forgotten that there was a crouch button, because like literally just ducking under, it saves you so much. Like every time the enemy is firing at you, your screen is getting a little bit red and you're about to die. And if just ducking like reduces that massively. So never forget your duck, okay? Take your duck with you into battle. Always look after it, feed it, keep it well, because it will save your ass.
The main thing for me with these sorts of ones is that if you don't do well here, don't take it badly. Instead, review what happened and learn. Because with a lot of these sorts of games, they will probably come up again in the wheel at some point in the future. Like, it's not going to be the exact same experience, but some of the things that you can learn from this, you can take forward into other games, and you can take forward into other shooters like of this sort of caliber, of learning, okay, where am I on the map? How much ammo is in my gun? How can I end up like reloading, and where is the nearest safe area for me? Where are they likely to be coming in? And sort of planning, trying to mentally plan for what's going to happen in any given situation in these sorts of games, and taking that knowledge forward into other games can be incredibly helpful.
Absolutely. You know, my approach was always, okay, what's the next room of enemies? What triggers those enemies? So, okay, I can sit outside, I can get my guns reloaded, I can maybe even throw in a smoke grenade or do something different, kind of mix up the formula a bit and see what happens. Will those guards come out firing, or will they stay in there, and do I have to go in the smoke, and have I created a huge problem for it? Just especially with these games where, you know, the checkpoints weren't frequent, but they were frequent enough that you could kind of, you know, if something's not working, try something else, use the different buttons, fuck around a bit, because you'll learn more than if you just try and do the same thing 100 times and always hit the same brick wall. We mentioned Stormy. Afterwards, Stormy posted and she said, oh, I was really frustrated because I'm not good at shooting, and like, I saw Stormy hit 3 unguided missiles on this helicopter, and I was like, I don't think I could do that once.
No, those were incredible shots.
So yeah, exactly. So there's nothing wrong with your shooting. It's the way you decided to approach it. And well, so in future, just fuck about a bit. Try
she
stuff.
Lined them up. She actually was tracking the helicopter, tracking how quickly...
timing them, fire them early so that they hit in the right. Like that's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Take that and just like maybe next time try pressing crouch or something. Just mix it up a bit. But incredible gameplay. Absolutely.
I do believe it was a philosopher who once said, if at first you don't succeed, pick yourself up and dust yourself off and try again. Yeah, it was dust yourself off and try again. It wasn't pick yourself up.
You can dust it off and try again. Try again.
Try again. I've completely butchered that, but you know.
Something you'll notice as you watch more and more Struggle Is Real episodes is that mine and Mr. Matt's frame of reference, especially for pop music, is sort of the late 90s to early mid 2000s. So you're going to get plenty of references like that. You need to keep up. You need to make sure you're Googling them, listening to them on YouTube, and going, wow, music from back then was so much better.
I can't stand like some music nowadays. It's I don't want to be that old man, but you know, I am an old man now. And it's all and it's all that with just the same repeating pattern over and over and over again, and someone just going over and over again, and that's it.
I mean, that's number one right now, the one you were singing. But I mean, like there are others that sound just like it. Yeah, it's top 40 full of that stuff.
They warned us about it, but you know, it happened. You know, you get old and you start complaining about music, and you start complaining about games. Games were better in the old days, weren't they? Yeah. Anyways, we're going off on a tangerine.
We are indeed. Tangerine Dream.
So, what's coming up next?
Well, we've talked about the game. We've talked about the reaction to the game. We've talked about what you're expecting from your submission. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. I mean, we've pretty much covered.
Much covered.
Yeah, I mean, it's wall-to-wall covered.
Wall-to-wall cupboards at Cupboard World. Get yourself down here for a great deal on some wonderful cupboards. We've got cupboards just for cups, just for mugs, or even for glasses. Get yourself down to Cupboard World and we've got a cupboard for you.
We've got discounts right now. We've got a fire sale, in fact, because we need to pay for those lawyers we mentioned.
Cupboard World, from the Struggler's Wheel.
I'm going to have so much fun with that. And then 4 hours later, I'll be like, fucking Google, fucking picture of Google. Drag it in, move it around.
Why'd that fucking arsehole Mr. Matt have to fucking wheel this out into a whole fucking sketch? I said no sketches on this series, no fucking sketches. I made a bodge, he should have just fucking let it lie. But anyways.
I opened the cupboard there, clearly.
Sorry, one of my eyes is swelling, so I'm just going off on weird tangerines at the moment.
Absolutely fine. That's what we want, because we've got literally not much else to fill the runtime.
Just a quick thing. This bloody Haiku corner you keep talking about, this Haiku corner that you demanded was in this.
Yeah.
I hate to ask it, but have we had any sort of response to this? Have we had any, like, sort of, say, fan submissions of haikus to prove that you were right and the haikus should stay in there?
Well, that sounds like a perfect segue onto the next section, Mr. Matt, which is our viewers' haikus!
Fuck's sake.
Hello, everybody. We've had our viewers send in their haikus. A haiku is a poem where the stanza is 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. Do you know what a syllable is, kids? It's a thing. It's a thing in a word. I mean, that's all I can really tell you. Anyway, we've had a haiku here from NBZ, who is 7.5 years old.
Bloody hell.
And this is about Sonic. In fact, all of these haikus are about Sonic, apart from Z, who sent in a 007 one preemptively as well. So we'll get to that one. But
yeah, save that one for last.
Yeah. Here is NBZ's haiku. Do you like Sonic? What the fuck is wrong with you? Go play a good game.
I was playing a good game. It was Sonic.
Yeah. Sonic's a good game. They're all good games.
Sort it out, MBZ. Sort it. Sorry, MBZ. MBZ. I can't.
Yeah, in the UK it's pronounced NBZ.
And
also, for another thing, we've had a couple of anti-Sonic murmurs in the Discord, and I want to put this thing to bed by saying, well, first I'll take it to dinner, then I'll buy it nice things, and then I'll take it to bed. Sonic is a fucking good game, and you're wrong. I'm sorry you're wrong. I mean, I don't know what happened to you in your life that led you to this point, but you should always try and reconsider your opinions, because, well, this one is wrong.
As much as Sonic has some misses, and let's be clear on it, Sonic's had some misses, some colossal misses, some of the biggest misses ever in the industry. There are still too many good Sonic titles that outweigh those. You've got Sonic a Hedgehog 3, Sonic a Hedgehog 3 locked into Sonic and or Knuckles. You've got Sonic a Hedgehog 2. You've got Sonic a Hedgehog 2 locked into Sonic and or Knuckles. You've got Sonic a Hedgehog 1. There are others.
There are others. There are many others.
Anyways,
I mean,
you're going off on this Sonic tangent, and you've already you put it in the haiku section. All right,
they got into my head, Mr. Matt. They pissed me off.
I know, mate. I know, but you got to let it lie sometimes. You got to let it lie.
For every Sonic Forces 1 out, there will be a Sonic Adventure or a Sonic Mania or a Sonic. Look, I'm not doing anything for my corner here. Help me out, Mr. Matt.
There will be a Sonic Advance 2, and a Sonic Advance 3.
Advance 1, 2, or 3.
They'll also end up, of course, being Sonic Frontiers, which, although was a bit long, a bit artificial in the padding, it was still a good game. It made you feel hype for Sonic again, which was basically what it was supposed to do. You've got lots of other great titles in the Sonic range. I mean, you've got Sonic a Hedgehog 4, Episode 1. That one's not a good one.
Look, this is a clear example of the more I go on, the less I make my point. So I'm just gonna say Sonic's a good game. Shut the fuck up.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But this leads us quite nicely onto Kylorian's haiku.
Oh, what the bloody hell's he come on to say then?
Well, actually, I probably read that wrong. I think this haiku was either by Kyle or Ian.
Oh!
One of the two. They've both signed their name. It's really confusing. Would you like to hear it, Mr. Man?
Well, you're going to make me listen to it, so, you know, you haven't really offered me a choice here.
Yeah, I don't know why I asked, to be honest. It was more of a nicety. Sonic the Hedgehog. Great game with terrible port. Fuck you, Octobot. I think we can all get behind that.
I think I know what Kyle and or Ian's issue there was. They were drinking port whilst playing Sonic a Hedgehog, and we all know that Sonic a Hedgehog is more of a whiskey game, really, isn't it?
Yeah, remember, kids, only one glass of whiskey with Sonic at any one time, okay?
Yeah, don't drink and Sonic, yeah?
That sounds like a 2-page ad from the 90s in a gaming magazine. Don't drink and Sonic, and it's like a hole in the wall, Sonic shaped. And there's like a bottle of booze on the floor. It's like,
oh mate, no, you enhance this even further. You've got a hole in the wall, but it's a CRT TV and clearly like a Mega Drive that's been like flipped up and it's gone through the wall at the same time. The cables have been ripped through as well, and it's just like the sofa's been sort of flung over forward, and the kid's been fucking kidnapped by Sonic a Hedgehog. You know, real horror show sort of stuff.
2-hour Photoshop appears here.
Oh come on, you're gonna try and like poorly do it in paint, mate. Come on.
But that moves us nicely on to a lovely little gent called Octobot.
Ooh.
We just mentioned.
In good terms, definitely.
Yeah, definitely in good terms. Blue streak lags behind. Hedgehog hampered by bad port. The wheel laughs at you.
I like that one because it makes reference to the back of Sonic and or Knuckles box art where it says "Don't let the sun laugh at you."
Ah, much like Kyle or Ian, he's also drinking bad port.
Yeah. A lot of people addicted to port at the moment. That's worrying. I didn't think port was in vogue at the moment. I thought port had dropped out of fashion.
Well, you know, when you're facing such a dilemma or a problem as a wheel submission, the idea of fortified wine does sound comforting.
If I'm going to have fortified wine, I'm going to go for Buckfast tonic wine.
I know you. You've only mentioned it about 1,500 times. Next up, we have Wheel Daddy himself, Mr. Big Wheel. It's Kythius. He has sent in a haiku, and it says, "Big countdown plans made. The wheel had other ideas. Now the council cry." And I really like that because that's kind of given more of a historical context to, you know, rather than talking specifically about Sonic itself, it's more about the effect that the disastrous Week 1 wheel spin had on the psyche, the general zeitgeist of the wheel, I think. Really quite moving in a way.
It really is.
Really quite moving on. To Q-Lad. Q-Lad has sent in his haiku, or his haiku, if you will.
That's a great joke, man. That's a great one.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wrote that 2 minutes ago deserves a praise. Your name is a lie. The Mega Drive was denied. Bad version. Lamau. I'm not quite sure that Lamau, either in that sense, or indeed in its constitute words, actually works out at 5 syllables. But you know what? We'll let it slide because Q-Lad, after all, is only P1 years old. He's still got a lot to learn.
That's very true. I'm crying on the inside right now.
We have one more haiku. It's from NBZ. This is the Nightfire haiku.
Oh my goodness, before our ones even.
Before our ones indeed. It's an honour, don't you forget it. This is going fine. 7 snipers sniping you. Never mind, I quit. I mean, it's technically revisionist history because Z probably provided the the best submission for Nightfire, I believe. So
I think what Z is referring to there, is that sometimes the guards will run at a wall and make you think that they've quit on the job. They're like, I've seen James Bond, I've heard of him, I'm done with this, time to run into this small wall forever.
There were a couple of times when you'd turn a corner and whatever the trigger for those guards is, you hadn't quite hit yet, and you could abuse that for certain in your playthrough.
Perfect.
So, I think that brings an end to the viewers' haikus. Thank you for sending them all in. Please stop writing them in crayon. You're big boys and girls now. You can upgrade to pens. I think we trust you with an ink pen of some sort. So do send your haikus in. Whether you've sent one in today or you're going to be sending one in the future, we thank you for it, and we will read it out on this show in a deliberately patronising voice. And
don't forget, it can be any haiku from any of the season's games. Please keep it to games that are within this season, and only for the things that have been spun up already. So at the moment, as of time of recording, that would include Sonic a Hedgehog Genesis, 007 Nightfire, and the game that we're going to be talking about next week. But we're probably going to end up saying what that is at the end of the show. But strugglers already know what it is. So if you do want to end up getting any of your haikus in for those, I would recommend sending them in sooner rather than later. You can send them on the YouTube video itself via a comment. You can send it to myself or Mr. Matt in DM, on Discord, or any of the other places that you can find us, or even in the Discord itself. Just as long as, you make sure that we see it, we will include it. Fantastic. Now, we've had the viewers. I think it's time for ourselves to try it. Much like a music gig or something like that. We've had the support act on. Most people have ignored it. They're here for the mainline act, Mr. Matt, and that is Haiku Corner proper for big boys with big balls. Haiku. 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 Thank you for that lovely noise. Who's going first? I believe you went first last time, so I will go first this time. And I've managed 007 to contain it within one short stanza rather than two. Basically sums up the experience of playing 007 in my eyes. So here we go. 007. Spy tools and rocket launchers. Then fucks the ladies. Very nice indeed. That's basically what James Bond ends up doing. I was making the joke about 100 times through my stream that Bond, we need you to go over to the Middle East and fuck a bunch of women. Oh, and also, while you're there, if you could deal with the terrorist scheme, if you get time, because it does feel like that a little bit. James Bond is probably responsible for most STDs being spread across the world. Like, he raw dogs so many women. He is a walking cesspit, and honestly, it's probably the cocktail of drugs that MI6 gives him that probably, maintains his ability to walk around and talk to people. It must be horrific in his trousers. Like, simply like the worst case of gonorrhea you've ever seen. Right. After every mission, they just hose him down for about 10 minutes. Oh, James! I swear to God, this is what we were talking about earlier with Nightfire, and I'll let you do your haiku in a minute, but it's just, the whole thing was so incredibly generically Bond that, like, I barely counted a woman in a cutscene that he didn't kiss. Like, literally, the only ones he didn't, I think, were, well, he might not have kissed the evil Japanese lady. I can't remember if he did or not, but definitely he kissed all of the Japanese ladies that he saved in that mission, right? And then also, there were two ladies in a car at the end of another mission. He didn't kiss them, but he did proposition them. And double entendre them. So, I mean, it genuinely felt to the point of parody. And that's why I kind of, it's like, oh, James Bond, he likes the ladies, so we got to get that in there. And it's just like Control-C, Control-V throughout the whole game. So it does end up feeling very old-fashioned and laughable, where it's just like, oh, it's no longer James Bond, it's just a carry-on film. Oh,
Yeah,
James. Oh, you've got me suds all moist. What are you doing with me drawers? Oh, sorry. I just accidentally pulled out. And he's just holding up a pair of drawers. James, you clumsy prick. You've broken me fucking chest of drawers.
Well, I thought I could hold on to your underwear. Dun-dun, dun-dun, go fuck yourself. Dun-dun-dun. Anyway, I believe it's time for your haiku, sir. We've dabbled long enough.
Okay, right. Get ready for this. Okay. Same level of quality as last week. Okay.
No, please no.
What? What was? All right.
James Bond. James Bond.
Oh, mate.
Yes.
I'm not. I don't repeat like that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought that.
Take it seriously, all right? This is your segment, okay? You demanded that we take this seriously, okay?
Okay, look, I apologize. I should not have preempted your haiku. Please read me your haiku.
Okay. Right. Straight serious face, okay? If I see you laughing once, I'm going to start it over, okay?
Okay.
Nightfire, James Bond Cube. Nightfire, James Bond, do mission. Nightfire, James Bond, game.
Well, I think you covered quite nicely there. The fact that it was James Bond, the fact that it was a game on the GameCube.
Oh shit, I put the first and the last ones in the wrong way round.
Easily done with a haiku. I was trying so hard not to laugh because I didn't quite preempt your shit, but I somewhat preempted your shit.
That's why it works so well. I was like, right, okay, fantastic. I've got to play this up now because I've made him feel bad. Now I've got to end up really hammering this home because I know exactly what's coming up. So perfect, excellent.
Well, the thing that you cannot deny about Mr. Matt is that he has a haiku style, and it's some people when they're at haikus, it could have been by anybody. Like take the ones that they sent in. There's trash things that we read before ours. They could have been written by anybody, but your haikus, to your credit, I know they're your haikus. Do you know what I mean?
Because they're terrible. Right, so what's the next section that we've got coming up? I think it's just a preview of next week, isn't it?
Pretty much covered all of the highs and lows of 007's escapades in Japan. So it's time to move on to the next week of the wheel.
Wow, so next week, what came up on the wheel last week? What game are we now going to be covering next week?
Well, many people were hoping for things like Peggle and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I was hoping for those. They still elude me, but I'm quite happy with the wheel spin this week. It was Mega Bomberman for the Mega Drive. Clues in the fucking name, not the Genesis. Although I guess, the Genesis.
The Genesis. But
It's a Mega
yes,
Drive, folks. It's a Mega Drive.
It is the Mega Drive. But anyways, we will be covering Mega Bomberman next week on The Struggler's Wheel. I would just like to say a massive, massive thank you to you watching at home. And I might recommend, and this is just between me and you, okay? Alright, don't let anyone else know about this. But if you subscribe, okay, you'll know when the latest episode comes out, okay? You can be ahead of the curve, okay? Yeah, me and you. We can be ahead of the curve, okay? Subscribe.
I mean, you heard the man. You can't argue with that kind of logic. We would love to have you subscribe. We would love to have you continue to watch us. Thank you so much for the reception to the first episode. I hope you're not all crushed by the fact that this episode is probably an hour shorter, but that's simply the way it is. We don't have a whole season to look over this week because we already did that. But as more of these go on, I'm sure we will develop new and amusing ways to provide you with content.
And if you've got anything that you would like us to cover here on the Struggler's Wheel, and we can even end up doing some cheeky every now and again, throwback episodes to cover some of the older games, and that's especially going to be useful on the Forgotten rounds, okay? So, if you've got anything from any of the previous seasons, even seasons that we weren't in, give us a little nudge in the right direction, okay? And you can do that by, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a text entry field. Madness, I know. And you can leave a comment. And that comment could be things that you would like to see us do later on, as well as haikus or just any other lovely comments you'd like to leave.
So long as it abides by YouTube's terms of service, you can post it. So go buck wild, as they say.
But for the time being, I do believe that is the end of this week's Struggle is Wheel. And I think the best way that we can sign this off is by saying da-na, na 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 na. He's been Garlips.
He's been Mr. Matt.
And this has been The Struggle is Wheel.
Bye for now. I killed him. I got to say it finally. Oh wait, I've killed my co-host. What am I gonna do? Oh.
Find a better one.
It's a tranquilizer gun. It's okay.
Oh, I should have known.
You lucked out this time.
I did.
Every day I'm struggling. Every day I'm struggling.
So, my idea for the intro is because we're doing a video about James Bond, we're legally obligated to provide a parody at the start where we look into the camera and go, and the thing goes da 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 da. So, but we can have a bit of fun with it.
Okay. I'm worried, but we'll give it a shot.
Don't worry, it's fine. I've got more time. This will be a short episode, so I've got more time for effects. It's fine.
Okay. I'm still scared.
I'm holding your hand right now. It'll be...
Cool. As long as we're all right. So, how are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do you want to do it at the same time or what?
Tell you what, we'll do like a skit of talking about it. Like, look, Mr. Matt, for the intro, we've got to apparently legally we have to provide a James Bond parody, and you're like, you can react to that how you want, and then I'll say, well, I've got a gun with me, and then you can say like, either you have a gun, or if you don't, you can say, well, I haven't got a gun. This is the UK, we don't, whatever you want, and then I'll say, well, can you like just put your fingers like this, please, or something, and then we'll then what we'll do is we'll do like a walking on, and then.
Gotcha. So this bit here that you've just done, that's the intro sequence. That's the start to that bit.
That would be amazing.
I've got to now say, whatever. I don't have a gun. I can only do this with my fingers. And then that will be fine, yeah?
I'm going to have another shake at it if that's alright though, because I didn't realise that we were using that.
Oh, see, I thought it'd be better if we use the take where you're talking about you not using that take, but use that take anyway. But it's fine.
I'll compromise. I'll put it in the end fluff.
Okay, cool.
Hello, end fluff. Abundant fire. Perfect. That's it.
That was a perfect rendition of the James Bond theme.
Mr. Matt, that is also not true. James
Brosnan.
James Brosnan. You know him. You love him. He's in the game. No, P.S. Brosnan's likeness has actually been included this time.
No way.